Greetings, queens and kings, if you stopping by. Welcome back to my channel. Family, let me tell you something. Fatima is off the chain. The way she ran up those stairs. Girl, did you forget you gave your man a little gift to try out? I guess that just went out the window. And you calling somebody for Zach to get therapy? Sis, make sure that you make an appointment for yourself too, because you definitely need therapy too, girl. Come on, who agree? Raise your hand. Now let's get into it. Now, where we left off last week, Sean was giving the ladies a ride home. And of course, Angela pushing up on the man. And one of the questions she so boldly asked him was, do he like the D? You know, he's like my own, because she still has these issues with Bryce, which is one of the reasons why, Angela probably over drinking and, just totally out of pocket because of the situation with Bryce. She really liked him. But now having to wonder, I guess, about his bisexuality, that's something that she's really not in for. So, that's going to make you curious of other men that you deal with. So she staggers her little, drunk self in the house, and Fatima's going to go with her and basically, I guess, find her either a ride share or, whatever at home. Now, she has Sean, drive her around the corner, which initially, once Angela went in the house, she was just going to go ahead and deal with it herself. But she said she'll take the ride, and he better not try nothing, because not only do she got a man, she got a gun. So I don't think Sean will be trying anything with Fatima. Now, back at the house, you got crazy old girl here, trying to push up on Zach, and they sitting up in the living room on the couch. I guess she came out of the bathroom and nothing happened. But he wanted to have a talk with her. Like, DEJA, this is not something that's going to go down with me and you. Stop trying to turn me against my woman, because it's not going to work. I love her. She loves me. Don't disrespect her, call her out of her name. But, I'm never going to get with you. And she's like, I'm not trying to get with you. She just wants something sexual. And there are many women out there that's like DEJA, who, probably had some issues in their past, like many of us have. And being with a man that's attached to someone really doesn't, allow about yourself, or get too close, or get hurt again. Because 9 times out of 10, when women get this way and react like DEJA does, promiscuous, doing a lot of things out of pocket, disrespecting a man in his relationship, is because they've been hurt in their relationships, and they don't care to respect anybody else's. So this is one of the things that DEJA, probably have went through and needs to realize. But, Zach sees her for what she is. But Zach also has to stop putting himself in situations like this that compromise his integrity in his relationship, knowing that this woman is after him. But, he's a little stressed, over his sexual situation with Fatima, giving him this toy. She not wanting to give him, much. And here you have this temptation next door. So she was pretty pissed off with him, because he says, I'm going. She was like, well, you go on but your way, because he was one of the ones that she could not seduce. And I'm sure she's not used to the rejection. She got his friend Nate, and she was sure, I'm sure that she can get Zach. But it didn't work. So she was a little pissed off. Now, Fatima's coming in, and she said thank you for the ride. So he does know that part's true. She was with somebody and got a ride home. So he's a little upset. And now they want to do this immature thing and come on in the house. And, Fatima is coming in with her mom's gift, which is this muumuu. I hear you, Fatima. You want to get comfortable, put the bonnet on. You don't plan on doing nothing. You teed off with your man. So, you don't feel to come sexy, even though she had a full beat face still. She ain't washed her face, but this is TP. But Zach is like, what's wrong with you? She was like, well, you don't want nothing from me. You was just next door. Thing all hard. He was like, of course, I'm feeling that way for you, you don't want it, and it can't go both ways. And you know good and darn well, and Fatima do, that if you really thought I was screwing around with this woman, you would go guns a-blazing. And she basically told him, like many of us, I've been in that situation before, when a relationship starts to get rocky or downhill, when I stop talking and I don't say nothing, that's when you need to think. You know, that's basically when a woman is getting her thoughts together, and it may not be so good. Now, when she's still a little hype and giving you conversation and communication, then you pretty much okay. But when we get quiet, beware. So this is basically what Fatima's telling him, and she's really, just frustrated on this whole situation. And the communication factor, I know Fatima looks to be the mature one in this relationship, but she has some headstrong things that she needs to deal with as well. Coming off on Zach about his issues, sit down and talk. Find out exactly why he was next door. He needs to, talk to her about, how he feels about her not being intimate with him, and just really deal with the situation, even with the guy, Paul, on the job. These are things that they haven't really confronted. They need to have a mature conversation, but instead, Fatima wants to run, as always. And Zach is pretty, fed up with that as well. And I don't blame him. I mean, enough is enough. When we have issues, you can't always run, Fatima. So she goes by Angela, and what this girl do, I guess she called old boy to circle back around the corner and give her some. And that's what happened. So Fatima got her mouth open like, oh my God. So old boy is looking like, who is this? And he was like, Fatima, he was like, the girl I just dropped off? She come out the house looking like that? Well, she's getting ready for bed, bro. Everybody don't got to go all sexy-fied, and glammed up to go to bed. She's going to bed. So she was like, don't even focus on her. We going to finish doing what we doing. So Angela really need to put her stuff in check, because she can't go home bringing random men at home. Kind of reminds me of Danny on Sisters, right? You got to cut that out. So Zach's, he's stressing. He's looking at the phone. And, of course, he's fighting it off to call Fatima. He's like, I'm not calling you. He looking at the phone. I'm sure he wants to know where she went, and he's concerned. Now, in the meantime, you have old boy Nate sleeping on the couch at their friend Tony's house, because him and his girl going through issues, and he's really stressed. Doesn't know what he wants to do. Not really totally sure, as much as they go through all the turmoil in their marriage, if he really wants to divorce. I think this is a couple that really needs to come to grip. He needs to check his hoish ways. His wife needs to stop probably emasculating him, and they need counseling. But I don't know if that's a route Tony going to take. I mean, Nate's going to take, but until then, of course, he's going to focus on someone else when you don't focus on yourself. So he gets a call. I mean, not a call, but he looks on his phone, out surfing the app. That's why he stay in trouble. And he noticed that Fatima has an app up. And he calls Zach to let him know. At first, he was, Tony's like, no, that has to be old. But he said it's a tracking device, and it shows where she is right now. Now, you know how I feel about Angela and her messy behind. And if the app is showing that she was at Angela's house, Angela may have put that profile up of Fatima just to stir something up. Or Melinda. I can't see Fatima going on a website unless it's old and she forgot to take it down. But even then, that happens, and that causes problems. Now, Zach is looking like, why is she on this app? And that's stirring up something else, other conflict in their relationship. So that's to be continued. Now, Angela wakes up the next morning, and they're talking. And, she's basically telling Angela, this is not the way to handle it with the situation with you and Bryce. And she was like, well, can you talk to him for me? And she's like, no. So old boy comes out, and he tells her he talks to her later, and they wrap that up. And Fatima also told her about the guy that Paul suggested, the therapist, and she doesn't feel that that's a good idea, and I don't think it's a good idea either. I think you need to talk about Zach before you just go and bring him to some random therapist. Now, on the way out, when they leave, Bryce is coming in. I guess he's tired of her ignoring the calls, and he's talking to her. But Bryce is always Bryce. He's so pushy and making demands. And put in the comments what you feel about this with Bryce, because Bryce is a very touchy situation. She found out you made a pass and one of her best friend's man, and you don't see why she's ignoring you or she's upset. Bottom line is she needs to talk. Since that happened, they need to have a conversation. Well, her thing is, we're going to sit down and talk with Zach and Fatima. We're going to air this all out. and get down to the bottom of it, because it was never squared out. And it's pretty embarrassing situation for both of them. But the thing is, to just drop him without word is not cool. So yeah, they plan on meeting with them. So that's what Angela does. She calls Fatima to see if her and Bryce can meet with her and Zach. And she's like, really, this is not a good time. Like, why y'all want to talk with us? And I guess she just needs that support and wants to, just squash it, because it did involve her man. But she's like, no, I don't think it's a good time. And plus, we supposed to be going to dinner with my parents. I may have to cancel that. In this situation that she made an appointment with this therapist, which she thinks is a bad idea, Angela. And if anything, I really think that Fatima, as solid as she is and as much as we love her, homegirl needs some things that she needs to straighten out in her past. There's a lot of turmoil that she needs to deal with. We see with her mom, her dad in her past, him being in jail. There's a lot of anger in her that she needs to release. So I think they both need counseling. Now, in the meantime, she hears the moaning of Zach upstairs. And girl, she's like, wait a minute. I know this MFer is not up here with some woman. Now, totally forgetting about the little toy that she gave him. But she is pissed. And she says, Angela, I got to call you back. And homegirl is flying up these stairs to see what's going on. And lo and behold, Zach is having a good old time. Evidently, that thing is going to use. When he noticed Fatima running upstairs, he like legs up in the air screaming. I know he's embarrassed trying to catch himself. Thing probably all stuck to him. And she's up there ready to kill. You hear me? Then she has to stop dead in her tracks because she realizes what the moaning was about. I mean, Zach is startled. He's scared. He's screaming. I know he's embarrassed. And then you could see on her face that she's trying to hold back. She's shocked, but at the same time probably trying to hold back the laugh. But Zach is like, wait a minute. Now, she caught me enjoying this little thing, which is not too bad, because I mean, I guess it was pleasurable. So that's how it ended. Zach totally caught off guard. So what's going to happen? Are they going to have this conversation with Bryce and Angela? Are we going to find out what is up with the app, Zatima? What is up with the app? And Zach, how did your new girlfriend feel? Your little side piece. Did she solve the problem of your little drought? We'll find out soon. To be continued.